Alternance is the second full-length album from PASSÉISME. This is uh, a Russian black metal band, a decidedly melodic black metal band, and one that is very much in the spirit of Aurlach and Sunopfer and Fortress. Very much an austere and sort of performatively of a certain era romanticist ideal. And there's a lot of different French references we can make here. They certainly have studied a lot of classic poetry, some obscure poetry, and gotten a lot of feeling from the turn of the century uh, art movement. And basically, what that makes for is a very French result from a Russian band who are surprisingly made up of mostly death metal musicians over the years. Now, some of them of the trio have been involved in other groups, but most of the people who read my stuff would know them from Womb Ripper, or they have a more recent band with Colin Marston, which is more of a kind of a brutal technical death metal thing. So these are very not beyond capable musicians. They're all fantastically inspired and great musicians, and that really feeds into the both the precision and the feeling of this record. And I think maybe the feeling is more important to most fans, especially if you're interested in Vehemence and just the French and Quebec-based black metal sound, which is always has a surprise around the corner every year if you follow various labels. And I think the thing about this band, well, we'll get to a clip and you'll hear it first, and then I'll describe the way I see it. So we'll get to a song right now. So beyond the symbolist poetry and the really involved and beauteous nature of the music and its sound, we find an extremely brutal kick to the rhythms. We find a very fluid guitar sound that is obsessed with melody and not only consonants, but just a little bit of counterpoint. And there's a lot of strong melodic drive to this whole record. And at first, it's easy to really focus on the pacing of the drums. It sort of outdoes Spectral Wound in a bit in some ways, while the lead guitarist or the main guitarist is really he became the focus over time as I familiarized myself with this record, because he really has to struggle to keep up with the pace of everything and strike away in a way that's interesting and nuanced. And it's very demanding both to listen to and I assume to play these songs, which uh, don't necessarily stutter, but they just keep up with the pacing and hit the right mark. And the only reason that this all stays solid is the vocalist bassist performance, who maybe they're a little bit less shotgunned, a little less aggressive than the first album, but this time around they are hitting the mark in terms of both melody and brutality, and also slowing down once in a while. That's kind of the big thing about this record, is that they kind of slow down so that it's not all aggressive militaristic anthems, but eases into a couple of slower droops and pieces, which add a lot of nuance to their sound and show they can do more than one thing. Also, the sound quality has been just improved in general. The render is just a little bit more full. The mix prioritizes clarity a little bit more. So we get to hear every element in a way that is just, for me, it was fantastic, because all that detail is really what you're going to be soaking up for many listens. Um, so the whole theme of this record is duality. The way I see it, alternance is not so much duality, but the continuous nature of things. Alternance essentially means alternation, movement between and back and forth. And the way I see that is a sort of a seasonal movement in a lot of ways. And it's in line with a lot of the poetry on here, but also the adding a dynamic to this sound with different contradictions, interruptions, and movements which are evocative of the scene that they're portraying. So um, I won't get too deep into the details beyond that. I think that if you like heard a lot of those name drops, you're probably already interested. I would just say this is just kind of an endorsement of this, what they're doing. I think it's fantastic. It might be odd to see a Russian band uh, pulling out this really pristine, very French record, but I can't deny the quality of this, from the album art to the performances to the songwriting. It's just a very memorable and engaging record that stands out as, I think, one of the better records in melodic black metal this year. There's nothing that feels contrived or cheap or just uh, too derivative of this style. There's a lot of bands that play this style now, but I feel like this band has their own sort of niche and characterization thus far, and hopefully they keep up with that because it's one of my favorite things lately. So that is a very high recommendation for me. And go ahead and read the very involved and flamboyant review from me over there on the website, and you can listen to it tomorrow.